What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck here again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The long awaited video that I have been working on is now here. We're going to evaluate the differences between Umar Johnson's, aka Prince of Pancrust Pizza, FDMG Leadership Academy versus LeBron James, I Promise School. So it took a minute to get this video together because of the information and documentation that I wanted to have to present to you all, some of which I've presented in other videos, but it does come together well in this one video to kind of give a quick overview of, some of the background on both schools, and to be able to give you some facts along with the tax statements and documents that I was able to obtain. Now, as we go through the information, um, you know, it's not an in-depth research or historical context, but it's just to highlight the major differences between the schools that, most of you have been asking for. And I am so happy at being able to get all of the information I needed to have this video completed. And now we are here. As you guys know, I'm an independent journalist, and part of what I do is research and report information. And this is information that you all need to know. Okay. So after this video, I think, for the ones who choose to not be brainwashed and have an open mind about the facts being presented, I think it'll be easy to come to the conclusion that Umar Johnson will never open any school, period. So let's get started. The first thing I want to, just give a brief historical context. And I have an article that I pulled online. This is an article also from a content creator. If you aren't aware, this is at the bottom here. This goes to her YouTube channel. This is Danny's World. She's a fantastic content creator. She posts a lot of video clips now on Umar. And she did this article back on July 4th, 2018. Here it is. And why Dr. Umar Fun 2 Days FDMG Academy is the most requested school in America. Now, I read over it, and from the looks of it, I can't say for sure if she supported the school. However, she just basically, put the post up and wrote out the information here, kind of giving the origin FDMG. So I want to go over this, and then we'll move on to, the next document that I have to show. So shout out to Danny's World. Make sure you guys go check out her YouTube channel. And if you have not subscribed to her channel, please do so. Make sure you hit the like button here on this video. And make sure you subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. I am aiming to hit 30,000 subs by September 30th. And by God, we will get there. So make sure you guys are sharing the content, sharing the videos, hitting the like button. You have to hit the like button. That keeps the videos in the algorithm, and share the content. And I hope you guys find this to be, fruitful. So let's get started. Why Dr. Umar Ifan 2 Days FDMG Academy is the most requested school in America. He's standing outside of a St. Paul's College. Oh, Lord. So by Danielle Leach, once again, Danny's World on YouTube. The origin of FDMG Academy vision: at the end of 2013, Umar first introduced the idea of opening up a residential academy for Black boys at the meeting of the Minds think tank in Norfolk, Virginia meeting. During this meeting, Dr. Umar and members of the Black community brainstormed different schools that were up for sale and available, which would make a good location for the FDMG RBG Academy. One of the schools was St. Paul's College. St. Paul's College is a historically Black college in Lawrenceville, Virginia, opened in 1888 by James Solomon Russell, free slave and friend of Booker T. Washington. The school started with a dozen students and gained a steady enrollment over time. St. Paul's last graduating class was in June 2013. So this gives some great background going back to 2013 now. It's the year of our Lord 2025. So since 2013, at the very least, since he started opening a school, you have to imagine he's been asking for money to open such school. One day, Umar received a call saying that St. Paul's would be going up for auction. Umar called the president of St. Paul's College to negotiate a bid on the college for $3 million. They wanted 4% down, which is $150,000 down payment, roughly. The college didn't sell at the auction. Dr. Umar was invited to visit to negotiate a deal. Why St. Paul's? It's 90 miles from Richmond, 90 miles from North Carolina border, Southern Virginia. 137 acres of 500 acres. They sold 300 acres, which Umar initially intended to build a Black Wall Street on the excess acres. Black Wall Street will consist of teacher and parent houses, a gas station, supermarket, daycare, cleaners, fire department, police department. The ultimate vision to incorporate into a city. The school would be the foundation for a 21st century Black Wall Street operation. Proclaims at the time he proclaimed he was a certified school psychologist. The school is small enough for a college, but big enough for the vision. It has dormitories, brand new state of the art student center built by alumni, a gymnasium, cafeteria, and most importantly, it's surrounded by undeveloped acres in a rural area, I'm sorry, enclosed by an African American community. The operating expenses were reported at $40,000 to $60,000 per month. Now, how would he come up with this money every month? And how would he generate the revenue to pay the expenses? Is the question. So, the whole point of this is not to show that you should not have a vision, but write the vision and make it plain. That's what the Bible states. It has to be realistic. It has to show how you're realistically going to generate revenue to take care of the expenses, including labor, because you got to pay teachers. You got to pay for that food that comes to the school. Pay for bus drivers. You got to pay the staff. So just to say, I want a school open and not think past that point, is rather reckless than anything else. And it just shows that you really didn't have a plan that was feasible, logical, and cost effective and efficient. It just, if you can't outline the revenue that you plan on bringing in to pay the expenses, then it should not have gone past that point. So while on tour, Umar was told by the realty company that he had until July through August to raise $2.5 million. FDMG Academy fundraiser began on May 20th, 2014. Here you go. This is 2025. It's been a good 11 years. He's been raising money specifically for a school, and some theorize that it's been prior to that. But let's just go with this begin date here of 2014. It's been at least a solid 11 years, over a decade. He has been raising money in the name of opening a school in any state in the United States of America. So it began on May 20th, 2014, and nearly $150,000 was raised in 30 days. In 30 days, he raised $150,000. The school objective to teach youth knowledge of self, African identity, and leadership. Key curriculum components. I mean, was that all you're going to teach them? I mean, they had to learn the basics, right? But I would hope that the objective of the school would be more than just this. And you'll see the difference when we go to LeBron James, I Promise School. Key curriculum opponents, core would be math, science, social studies, language arts, agricultural science, farming, raw food, organic, no oven, microwave or stove, natural hair care, clothing manufacturing. I don't know if this is supposed to be, like skills or trade classes, but if they're not, then why list these components here? I don't know. Hospitality, tourism, hotel and restaurant management, financial economic, 9th grade taxes, 10th grade real estate, 11th grade business plan, 12th grade stock market / multi-trading, international commerce, military science, how to survive off the land. Survivalist? Is that what it's supposed to be? And then, of course, there's a how to make a donation. FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 6872, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19132. And then, of course, his email at the time, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. As you all notice, I painfully stay away from calling him doctor because I still want to see a school transcript. I was the one that emailed the school, Umar, to get your dissertation. You're welcome. Include name and mailing address so you can be honored for your donation. If you contribute $1,000 or more, you will be named as one of the founding mothers, fathers. What? Okay. To apply. So at the time, of course, he was looking for applicants. You have this email address. I don't know if it's valid. I'm not going to click on it because I do not want a virus on my laptop. Send resumes to FDMG resumes at gmail.com. Yeah, I don't email that thing. I don't know if it still works or not. So it's not even a trial. He's not going to open the school. So don't email your resumes over there. African-centered pro-heterosexual applicants are encouraged to apply. Oh, God. Sounds like he's just kind of soundbiting for all single black women. I mean, good grief. Degree required. That's funny. Certified math teachers, science, social studies, language arts. Bachelor's degree required. 18 college credits specific to content area you will be teaching at the school. Of course, social workers, nurses, building engineers, stockbrokers, economists. Degree not required. Special skill jobs, secretaries, security grounds, natural hair care stylists, organic/raw food chefs, farmers, janitors, painters, bus drivers, classroom assistants. Other cities of interest: Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta. So he was going to expand this thing, and still did not outline how he was going to create revenue to pay all of these teachers and staff. But I don't see anything here where a criminal background check would be required. Because you would need to do that if you're going to have someone around children. Like, don't be on the sex offender registry list. That should have been the first thing up here. God. All right. So then I have some suggestions down here. His number 215-989-9858, because he's had that for over 11 years now, according to this article. And then the school specs, 500 to 3,000 student capacity. And then, of course, there's a YouTube channel link here. So shout out to Danny's World for doing this article. So this was in Pennsylvania. All right. And then what happened next, is mind blowing. So let me just pull up exactly what happened in the state of Pennsylvania with this clown. And let's see why, an idea is just an idea until something goes wrong. I mean, especially if it's not well thought out and well planned. This happened. So, in case you guys have forgotten, the contributions that you receive as a nonprofit organization still has to be registered in certain states. I think all except 4 or 5 does not require for nonprofit organizations to register, but they might want to think twice, considering the fact that you have these con artists, grifters, and scammers that utilizes nonprofit organizations to siphon money. And at the end of the day, what do you get? You still don't get a school, right? So far, Umar has not delivered a school. But yet, we'll get to his website in a minute. He has packages for contributions, and he can't even show what he's done with the money. So I've gone over this in a separate video. It was one of my first videos that I did on Umar, and one of my highly viewed videos as well. So thank you all for that. Like 16,000 views still. Let's get the views up on these videos and this content, you guys. It took some time to get the information and the research. What I really, really want is for these videos to get a lot of views so that people can have this information so they can understand what's going on. All right. So this is the cease and desist order that was issued out on March 4th, 2022. You see, Department of State, both the notary, from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Department of State, Bureau of Corporations and Charitable Organizations, in the matter of Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey, RBG, Leadership Academy. And RBG is red, black, green. It wouldn't be something more substantial like Ruth Bader Ginsburg or anything. No. Red, black, green. Cease and desist order. So here's the reason why he had to get the hell up out of the state of Pennsylvania. And now, this 4th day of March 2022, the acting secretary of the Commonwealth, having found that Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey, RBG Leadership Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. And listen to this. Is not registered with the Department of State's Bureau of Corporations and Charitable Organizations, and or has failed to submit all requested documentation to the Department of State, Bureau of Corporations and Charitable Organizations, or the Bureau of Enforcement and Investigation, in accordance with the Pennsylvania Solicitation of Funds for Charitable Purposes Act, 10 PS Statute 162.1, etc., hereby orders Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG Leadership Academy to immediately cease and desist from soliciting contributions on behalf of or as a charitable organization or conducting any services of a professional fundraising council or professional solicitor in Pennsylvania until such time as it provides the Department of State, Bureau of Corporations, and charitable organizations with all previously requested information and duly registers or provides information that is excluded or exempt from registration as determined by the Department of State, Bureau of Corporations, and charitable organizations. Respondent may also be subjected to formal administrative action, which could result in the imposition of administrative fines of up to $1,000 per violation of the Act, plus an additional penalty of $100 per day for each day the violation continues. This order shall take effect immediately. By order, Pennsylvania Department of State, Leah M. Chapman, Acting Secretary of the Commonwealth. So by this point, he already ran off to Wilmington, Delaware, hence why you see the actual P.O. Box address there. However, having gone back to the article, and let's do that right now so that you guys can see. I'm going up here because I want to be thorough with this. So as you all can see here, this was the original address in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, no less. He had a P.O. Box there too. P.O. Box 6872, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19132. So by the point that this cease and desist order was issued out, he had already taken up some level of residence in Wilmington. And I think he, knowing him and how sneaky he is, there's a chance that he knew this was going to come down the pipeline. Because at this point, why have, a new address, a new P.O. Box for the school in Wilmington, Delaware, if you were doing things the right way? So when he was served this cease and desist order, more than likely, he already knew that he got some sort of notification that he was doing something wrong. So this right here, it's hard to accept anyone saying, oh, well, it's his bad. He's not trying to bring a black man down. No, he needs to do the right thing and follow the law. This is a matter of him having respect for the rule of law, following rules and regulations and policies. He's not exempt from anything. And if he does not like our laws in the United States of America, we will happily send his ass to Ghana and make sure he does not return. Either follow our rules and laws or you don't. But if you don't like it, either whatever consequences you suffer from that, you take it like a champion, or you can get the hell out of the country. I don't understand. But, you got to see here, by this point, he had already taken camp in Wilmington, Delaware. And he picked that state, picked Delaware, because Delaware is one of the few states that does not require for you to register your contributions as a 501c3. But I hope they change some state legislation in that, because now having fooled around with Umar, with the fiasco about him not paying the water bill and the vacant property registration fees and other fees that he owed, it has to be a reason why this guy cannot even pay, a water bill, a few $1,000 water bill. But yet he's asking for donations and money for a school that he himself, because he self-snitched and said that he couldn't even utilize the water because the school building was not open. So moving on to, and I just want to kind of go in order here. Once that cease and desist order was issued out, then there was this information here. So in order for him, of course, to get the building, of course, you got to have ownership with some sort of deed. So I want to show you all this. This is information that I tried to get from the Record of Deeds website in Wilmington. It was more like just kind of like a search result. As you guys can see, this Frederick Douglass in Marcus, and it's, that's the name of the school there. You guys can see it up here in the criteria search. Role grantee, other party was K-12 Delaware LLC. The instrument type was a deed, and then there's an instrument number. And then you have this information here, just some printout information here. So I realized this was not the actual deed itself. It was just, me trying to get some information that a deed existed, because allegedly Umar owns the school, right? So I reached out to Lennon Honor. Shout out to Lennon Honor. And I said, hey, you have a copy of that deed he had shown in one of his videos? An actual copy of a deed. I said, you mind if I use that copy to do for my video on the differences between, FDMG and LeBron James I Promise School? And he sent it over because he's so sweet. So let me make sure I have the right one up. And here we go. Here is the full deed, just so you all can see here, of the school being transferred ownership from K-12 management to FDMG. So let's go through this right quick. You have the parcel numbers over here and the parcel numbers being, it's like a property index number. And I've gone on the parcel website for the city of Wilmington. I pulled up the map of the locations of the two buildings, the abandoned buildings per se, that were acquired. These property ID numbers correlate to those buildings. So you can check out my Umar Johnson playlist. I think I've covered that in at least 3 videos in detail, and also pulled up the information in real time when we had Manny. Shout out to him here on the channel last week. So these are the 2 parcels. They were also the parcels, of course, because they relate to the buildings that were listed and named in the writ of monitions that he was served because he failed to pay a water bill. So prepared by Ward and Taylor LLC. And then they give the address here, and then return to, and I didn't understand this, FSMG. And I'm like, how? We couldn't get the lettering right. It's supposed to be FDMG Academy. And then you have the P.O. Box address here. So this deed made this 6th day of February in the year 2019. This is when he acquired the bandos between K-12 Delaware RE LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, party of the first, and Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey, RBG International Leadership Academy, Inc., a corporation of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, party of the second part. So the school itself obtained its LLC in Pennsylvania, but it moved locations, it transferred locations, basically just went and got 2 different buildings and acquired them under FDMG, the LLC. But what you don't see here is Umar Johnson listed separately as an individual. So reason being is because he's not purchasing the buildings under his name. He was purchasing the buildings under the LLC FDMG, under the school's name. That is how he acquired it. I've seen many legal documents. If he was a owner, an individual owner, let's say he purchased the buildings himself, his name would be as party of the second part. It would not be the LLC. It would not be any other corporation. It would just have his name as individual. But because it was acquired under the LLC of FDMG Academy, that is why you see this here and not his actual name. So he's not the owner. The buildings were purchased under the LLC itself. So I had to make sure I looked that information up that I was given this, because a lot of times it's how these certain legal documents and stuff read. And I actually researched, deeds between individual persons. And the results you will find, and you guys can do the same thing, the results you will find is you will see the individuals listed as the party of the first and party of the second. Let's say if it was, Lynn and Honor versus Lady Luck Club, you would see Lynn and Honor and Lady Luck Club. You wouldn't see the LLCs itself. It would be us listed as the individuals. And you guys can research that and information, look it up just to verify if you want. And I encourage that. Witness it that the said party of the first, for and in consideration of the sum of $10 and other good and valuable consideration, lawful money of the U.S., the receipt whereof is hereby acknowledged, hereby granted, and conveyed unto the said party of the second part, its successors, and assigns in fee simple. And then you have one of the addresses of the parcels. So if you guys look at top, the first parcel number ends in 028. This is the address that correlates to that, 610 East 17th Street, Wilmington, Delaware. The second parcel number correlates to 611 East 17th Street. So it says all that certain lot, piece, or parcel of land with the improvements thereon erected, situated in the city of Wilmington, Newcastle, and state of Delaware, known as 610 East 17th Street, as follows, to wit, beginning at a point. And what they do is they describe the actual parcel itself, as far as where you would see that on the map. So it gives a description of the property itself and where it's situated and what they have acquired under this deed. So they give a lot of directional points, southeasterly boundary, and they have the street names listed. And I'm not going to read all of this information. I'm just kind of scrolling. So if you guys want to read it, please feel free to do so. Feel free to pause the video so that you can read the descriptions of the parcels or the land itself. And it's going to show here, and I'm just going to read here. The Boys Club of Wilmington by Goodwill Industries of Delaware, in a deed dated March 26, 1974, and recorded in the land records of said county. Indeed, record record A, volume 89, page 656. And then it kind of gives you some markers here. So I do believe that the Boys Academy or the YMCA is still there. I'm not quite sure. I know that these buildings once upon a time was Goodwill Industries. So they're using what at that time, what the markers would have been, or the actual other sites next to it would have been at the time that the deed was dated. And this is going back to March 26, 1974. So it just helps to kind of establish the proximity of the actual land itself and gives you some markers of buildings that are next to it or surrounding the building. So you guys can read all of this information in your spare time. And then you see the second parcel here ending in 027 for that 611 East 17th Street. And then it gives a full description of this piece of parcel or land here, and explains exactly what's around it. Of course, intersecting street names. And I'm making sure I just kind of scroll so you guys can read that as well. And then has subject to all covenants, conditions, restrictions, and easements of record. An easement would be like a right-of-way or a sidewalk or an alley street. So some of that could include, some of the description could include maybe a sidewalk or an alleyway. Being the same lands and premises which Samuel D. Pratchett Jr., Sheriff of Newcastle County, by deed dated March 22nd, 2017, and recorded April 4, 2017, in the office of the Recorder of Deeds in and for Newcastle County, Delaware, an instrument number, and it gives a full number here, you guys can see, did grant and convey unto K-12 Delaware RE LLC in fee, and then has the grantee's address here, which is for the FDMG school. And witness whereof the grantor has caused his hand and seal to be set the day and year first above written. And you guys can see K-12, the witness, the James Ryu president, and you have State of Virginia, County of Fairfax. The foregoing deed has acknowledged was acknowledged before me this 6th day of February 2019 by James Ryu, president of K-12 Delaware RE LLC, and on behalf of the Delaware Limited Liability Company. And this is the notar's information. So one thing to note, Lennon did point out to me in an email, is that this $10 here could be sort of like a blanket payment to mask, or I guess, keep from the final amount being disclosed. Now, as boisterous and, narcissistic as Umar is, I personally don't understand why he would not want to disclose how much he spent on the school, unless he was trying to lie about how much he spent on the school to avoid showing some level of accountability or responsibility when people ask questions about how he's spending the contribution dollars. That is the only thing I can think of as to why someone like Umar does not want you to know how much the school actually, or those buildings, were actually purchased for. So I thought the $10 was like a transfer title fee, because if K-12 is like the parent company owns FDMG, it's sort of like the parent company is giving the properties and the deed over to one of its subcomponents. And seeing that Umar's name is not listed as an individual, then he really wouldn't have the ability to claim any ownership of the school itself, of the buildings itself, because he's not listed here. So what if he decides he's no longer going to be, the president or the registered agent of FDMG, and then he sells the LLC to another company? Then they would take ownership. He still would not have any rights to own or to claim ownership of the buildings. So initially, I was thinking that the $10 was just a transfer fee, where it's like K-12 transferring the title of the deed to itself. It's just a different component or different subcomponent of the same company. That's how I saw that. I could be wrong. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. All right, so let's skip over here to this tab. So now that we have the deed down, packed, and covered, and established who owns the Bendos, that being FDMG LLC, I came over to next thing I wanted to do, find out what is the school's website. That's been an issue for a few months since I've been doing some research and stuff, and I'm still learning, guys. I'm still learning about the many, dumb inner workings of Umar. But this is on causeiq.com, and what it does is just post information, especially about 501c3s and our FDMG RGB. I thought it was RBG, Leadership Academy. Hold on. Yeah, on the deed itself, look at this. It's RBG, but on this website is RGB. So they flipped around the letters. But either way, they have the type as 501c3. Then they have the year form 2020 is now located by this point in Wilmington, Delaware. And they give some description on it, a school. And what I came down, because we're going to go over some of the financials in a second, but what I came down to look at was this link right here, website URL. This is supposed to be for the school, right? And you see this link, fdmgacademy.wordpress.com. When you click on that, here's what you get. It's no longer available. So how do you have a school with no website? Great question. I'm glad you asked that. We don't have a school. This has to be the most ratchet, raggedy way of trying to so-called be professional when you don't have a website to the damn school to begin with. So I said, okay, maybe it's just that link. Let me play around with some other things and see what comes up, right? So here you guys can see at the top, and let me share this tab. So I put in fdmgacademy.com to see maybe that's the website. All right, let's give it a shot and see what we get. You get Lennon on his YouTube channel. When you put in FDMGacademy.com, you get Lennon Honor's YouTube channel. I have to say, that is one of the most balling moves ever. Let me do this again because it's just so funny. FDMGacademy.com. Umar, you're a punk. You can even keep a website up. Y'all, this is so funny to me. Look at that. So I'm going to make sure I put that link in the description. All the links to the documents, the articles that I have, you guys, it will be in the description of the video because this is fantastic. Let it on it is the boss. FDMGacademy.com. This is unbelievable. It routes to Lennon Honor's YouTube channel. So that means Lennon Honor purchased that domain. Well done. Well done. And then, of course, I said, okay, well, let's see what comes up when you get FDMG Academy.org. You know, because it's the 501c3 and all. Let's see what happens with that. Yeah, no, it's not real. So this is a free domain, you know, just in case anybody wants to get any ideas by GoDaddy. Let's see what happens when we do FDMG Academy.edu. Yeah, no, that's not real either. So I've tried 4 total links by now. That includes the one from this IQ Cause website. So FDMGacademy.org, .com, .org, and .edu doesn't go to any domain at all. FDMGacademy.com routes over to Lennon Honor's YouTube channel. FDMG Academy.wordpress.com is no longer available. The authors have deleted this site, you know, because reasons. So I thought that was just hilarious. I said, okay, well, he's not serious about a school if he can't even get a formidable website. But let's go over to his website. So you guys can see here, drumarjohnson.com is a website that exists. All right. You'll see all these different tabs. I mean, just weird stuff. Get tickets. It takes you off to a place where you can just purchase a ticket. God knows what. Who knows? He doesn't even post up his appearances or whatever because, you know, people are coming there and questioning him and putting him in check in real time. So you can see all of these different little, you know, segments here, his books, all this stuff. And the first thing you wonder is, what is he doing with the sales revenue? So if he sells books and he goes out and gets invited on, you know, the Breakfast Club because, you know, Charlemagne is weird as hell, where does that money go? And naturally, you would think he will not put the same money from his revenue for the speaking engagements and the books into the account that's supposed to be strictly for FDMG Leadership Academy, right? I mean, surely he wouldn't do that. But then, you know, you leave it up to him. His accounts were frozen and somehow they've thawed out and people can start back contributing again. It's insane. But I mean, what he could have literally done is just created a whole new bank account and then has the PayPal and Cash App donations going to a whole new bank account, never explaining why the other 2 accounts were even frozen to begin with. Now, do you all understand why you should not give money blindly to someone when they're not trying to be accountable? What happened to the accounts he alleged were frozen? Because he has not said anything about opening brand new accounts and then simply linking those new accounts to his PayPal and Cash App. Because more than likely, that's what happened, seeing that he refuses to explain or show proof. I don't even want his explanation. I want evidence. I want proof from the bank to show what happened to your accounts and why they were frozen. Because that has to be the most simpleton way of getting out of accountability. And It's sad, really. It's sad and it's insulting. But you have a lot of his sycophants that don't question anything. I mean, they choose to be brainwashed. Some of them, not all of them. And those are the ones I don't feel bad for. But if you come down here, you see FDMG membership, and you have these packages here, which is like screaming pyramid scheme, because it's really different levels that you can donate. So bronze is like, I think 50, and then diamond goes up to 1,000. And remember, on the other article from Danny's World, if you donated $1,000 for the school he originally wanted to open in, and I want to make sure I'm making this right, St. Paul's College. If you donated $1,000 to that school, you would have been named one of the founders, because of reasons. So each level has a different contribution amount, naturally. And what I don't see, all I see is this vision here. FDMG Leadership Academy, donate now. And a video. Who cares? Where is the school link? Where is the link to the actual school website? He gives you a whole description about him because he's a narcissist. And yet, not one link to a school website is located on here. It's saying here at the bottom, and I just want you all to notate the bottom here. Dr. Umar is currently working on building his new school, the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for Boys, America's first residential academy for Black boys, founded upon the principles of Pan-Africanism and international economics. In the future, Dr. Umar would like to extend this school to include female students in their own residential school. I mean, didn't FDMG acquire 2 bandos? One could have been boys and one could have been for girls, right? Let's not even get into the legal implications of you saying only Black kids can go to these schools while we still have anti-discrimination laws. Because isn't that what happened during the civil rights movement? And I'm not saying that we should not, because you have a thing called HBCUs. Those exist. What they cannot legally do is sit here and say, no, we're not going to accept a student of another race. It's just not common, but they can't just turn them away without justification of cause, because then they'll be facing lawsuits all day, every day. Shout out to Mr. CKB. If you can, he goes into that in detail. So make sure you check out his channel and check out the video he did about the legal implications of the school opening. And it will end up being a whole lot of lawsuits for him. And this is, Umar doesn't even like to receive service, even when he's suing someone. So, of course, don't expect him to cooperate if he does get sued for that nonsense. But considering the fact that the school has not opened, he's been raising money since 2014 officially, that I'm seeing documented. Yeah, no, it's safe to say after 11 years, he's never going to open the damn school. So he has a way to keep you all connected with him. Still, no school website here. You got the FDMG resumes, his email, donations for the school, and then his Facebook, his X account, his Instagram, and then more donations, school donations only to FDMG, and then donate to Umar personal. Yeah. Because if you're trying to open a school, it's natural that people want to give him directly money, right? When he could just get a damn job. I mean, it's crazy. But where do you see the school website on here? So the so-called owner and leader of a school has a whole website, plenty of ways to donate, but he does not include the link to the school he's telling people he's going to open. If you don't have a school website or a school URL link, how can anyone that is reasonable and sound-minded take you seriously? How do you expect that? So here we are. Here we are once again. He has his own website, but not one school ID or a website link, a URL, nothing. So let's move on over to this website here. This is www.sixzeros.net, and I will make sure that is included in the description. And of course, it's a it looks like a blog or something. Current status of Umar's FDMG Academy. This was dated February 25th, 23. So about a little over 2 years ago, where this was posted. Now, when I say this is ratchet and raggedy and ghetto, look over here on the side over here. Last update done February 25th, 23. It's had 15,000 views since the last update. Okay, over 2 years ago, well over 2 years ago. And then you have this copy URL down here and these two things here. I'm assuming that's just for the programming of the website itself. Why is that there? And then, of course, it goes into some information here saying that the FDMG Academy inaugural semester begins September 3rd, 2024. This was a little over a year ago. And that school is still not open. So, of course, they have it here according to Umar. The school launch has moved from February 2023 to September 3rd, 24. So that was the first major pushback, apparently. I mean, whatever happened to between 2019 and 2023, when the school was, after the bandos were acquired, God knows. But as you all can see, there was a whole delay from February of 23 to September of 24. A year and good 6 months. A year and a half pushback on the launch. What caused that year and a half delay for a launch? If you've raised money going back to 2014 for the concept of a school, why would you need to delay the launching of that school by an entire year and a half when you had already been promising a school going back to 2014? You not understand the grift in this so far. I mean, he has his own website and he doesn't even put the school's website on it. And it's been what? Since 2019, since they've been in Delaware. So you guys can see here, the education plan was for grades 2 through 4 and would expand 1 grade or more each additional year of operation. So it was not going to even open catering to all school grades. It was only going to be for grades 2 through 4. That's elementary. And then, of course, he spoke about having a girls' school as well. And it's like, how? That was on his website. He's responsible for his website. So he can't blame anyone else for posting some garbage on his website. Student orientation begins August 21st, 24. So they have a whole laundry list of things they were going to do for in the first 3-4 days. Starting with August 21, Nat Turner Day. Then day 2 would be a field trip to National Great Blacks and Wax Museum. Wax on wax on wax, stacks on stacks on stacks. So you guys got the link here in Baltimore. I'm not clicking that link. His website has not been updated since 2023. Do not click links if the website is not even active or updated, or even the school that this website is talking about is not even open. Don't click the links. Day 3, August 23, 24, field trip to the Frederick Douglass National Historic Site in Washington, D.C. How do you have a school in the first, starting with student orientation on the 21st? And then the semester starts September 3rd. So you got all these field trips planned and you don't have a website? Who's going to drive the kids there? You didn't have a bus driver. Oh, God. Then you had, it's going like day 1 again, back down here. This website is something else. You got day 1 here on August 21, 24. And then you got day 1 here again for August 24, 24. You're talking about 3 days later. How are we still back to down day 1? Yeah, I did not plan on catching little errors like that, but that stood out to me. How do you go from day 1, day 2, day 3 back to day 1? That's still 3 days later after the first day. This is such a scam. That's not even a typo error. It's like, okay, why are you guys going on all these field trips in the first 3 or 4 days of orientation? This isn't college. Mind you, it already said that they're only going to cater to grades 2 through 4. So how did we get here? Get back to day one on August 24th? This is so stupid. Tuition schedule. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Tuition schedule at FDMG Academy. You can't make this shit up. Oh, God bless my soul. Okay, come on. Tuition arrangements at the FDMG Academy. I'm trying to calm down. Ooh, wee child, this is something else. Tuition arrangements at the FDMG Academy will vary based on what year of attendance your child is in. For the first year of the school, payment terms are as such, and then he gives a breakdown of tuition. Like anyone would pay money to send their child to his raggedy ass school that's still missing ceiling tiles and has not been opened since the buildings have been acquired. It certainly didn't tackle the mold issue. Yeah, so your children go there and acquire some sort of, pulmonary infection. Whose fault would it be? It's God. I mean, come on, we got to be responsible as parents. Don't put your child in any old thing because somebody is saying a bunch of words that still make no sense. And then, they're not really putting in any effort to open a school after 11 years, regardless of what state is in. Had he done the right thing in Pennsylvania, he would not have been hit with a cease and desist order. So where is Mark Lamont Hill and Charlemagne when those things are happening and it's factually proven? But yet they want to sit here and still try to defend him, talking about, I don't believe in tearing down a black man. I don't believe that he should be getting cease and desist orders and not following the guidelines and laws when it comes to contributions or filling out documents. At what point do we really hold him accountable? And not just people like myself, but other black men that have nothing to lose by telling him the truth. Think about this. Charlemagne has a bigger following than Umar on any given day of the week with the Breakfast Club. What the hell is Charlemagne afraid of by simply saying, man, look, you ran away from Pennsylvania because of that cease and desist order. Then you went to Wilmington, Delaware. And then you got these two bandos in a neighborhood where you knew you could take your time about opening the school because now you're in a whole nother state and you get to raise money, freely with no restrictions. That's the danger of it all. This school has been acquired since 2019 and it's still not opening. It's still not open and operating. And he could have gotten some help. If he really wanted it, I think he could have gotten some help here. So when I look at the date of the deed, it's 2019, February 6th of 2019. So he didn't want the help because he doesn't want the school to open. He just wants to utilize it as a gimmick, as a grift. That is the con of it all. Those contribution packages on his website, but no school link to the school itself. He had no intentions on opening the school when he couldn't get the simplest thing ever to at least show you're trying to be legitimate, and that's to create a website. So I'm not trying to give him ideas. We all know he's just not going to do it. So, of course, you have this bi-yearly, semi-annual and payable person. And payable person. Oh, Jesus. Then you have a second-year term. I don't understand. Third-year term. The doctor is serious about payment. Oh, get out of here. We're serious about him showing signs of life with his mother. We're serious about his mother's other children, his siblings, being able to see their own mother without him interfering. We're serious about as to why Philadelphia police shows up with the elderly association and his punk ass doesn't even open the door when they're doing a wellness check. We're serious about that. Unbelievable. I don't know if this website was just reporting the facts or what, but whatever. Who told them to put this in here? The doctor's serious about payment. I would not have even put that in there. We don't care about how you feel about payment. We just want facts to be posted up. No, too much like right. Yeah, it makes it clear that parents that have a hard time investing money into their education are not welcome at the school, because of reasons. So if you're too damn broke to pay me hard-earned money that you earned for your child to come to my raggedy ass school, then they're not welcome. This is so insensitive and cold-hearted. It's not even funny. Dr. Umar Johnson makes it clear that parents that have a hard time investing money into their children's education are not welcome at the school. You can't be broke as hell, in other words. Never mind him trying to at least entertain the idea of getting grants to help those that have, some sort of financial hardship, or at the very least, probably would be eligible to receive, certain state benefits. Like if you're on Section 8 public housing, or if you're a recipient of food stamps, then you have a program set up to where he still never outlined how he's going to generate revenue to pay the teachers and the staff for a non-profit organization. You're not even supposed to be earning profit from it. But let's just say for shits and giggles, he decides, okay, I want to have something in place to help those who are financially in need, because isn't this school, supposed to be open for kids, particularly in impoverished areas that does not have access to education, does not have access to, good quality education? Isn't that part of the idea of this school? So the very kids that you're supposed to be, catering to with this school are the very kids you don't want welcome in the school. And that's the parents that are, living paycheck to paycheck, barely struggling to, trying to keep their head above water. Even if they have a job, they're still not making enough money. And those are the kids now you're saying are not welcome. So how do you sit here and cater to low-income families or children being raised in maybe a single-parent household that are living paycheck to paycheck? They can't afford to pay, money towards a tuition for school, because if they could, they would put their kids in a school that is open, operating, functional, has great test scores, a low teacher to class or teacher to student ratio, and give their kids a good quality education with some sort of operating transportation system. They would just give that money to a better school. He can't even outline how he's going to create money to pay staff. But yet these are the kids you're saying, now this is so disgusting. So you're not welcome if you have a hard time coming up with some money. There are other schools in the Black America. There are other schools in the Black America. Did they not do a grammar and spell check on this? There are, and I can't make this up, there are other schools in the Black America. In the Black America, he recommends parents, because add an S at the end, for whatever, send their child to if a curriculum of freedom, self-sufficiency, and liberation is not a cause worth investing in. No. I mean, you guys can see clearly he doesn't care about you being broke. Then he's saying go to another school, because if you're not trying to pay money for the kids to come here, you got a hard time. Never mind him trying to get a grant or something to help cover the cost of that. No. He's telling y'all to get the hell on and kick rocks. God. Grades to be served at FDMG. So he has all of this breakdown here for nothing, because at the end of the day, the school's not open, and it's not going to open. And if, let's just say by a long shot and a huge miracle, the schools are open at some point, he's not going to let you in if you're broke and you cannot afford to pay the tuition. And God knows what that could be, because he doesn't even report expenses to the IRS. So he could just give an amount, just a random amount, not care about, what is the average cost for tuition in that area, in the city of Wilmington. Now, he could literally take advantage of that opportunity and put a price tag, even if it's unreasonable, but put a price tag on it at will. And who's there to check and give oversight? Delaware, remember, is not one of the states that require you to register your contributions. So There will be no oversight with this. But yet, he opens the school up. Now he knows he has to keep his word and maintain it and keep it running. And he knows he can't do that. That's what happens with a pyramid scheme. When it collapses, it's because there's not enough fresh money coming into the pyramid scheme. And when there's no fresh money flowing in from new, contributors, then the entire scheme falls apart because it's not self-sustaining. Pyramid schemes, scams, any fraudulent activity regarding money is not self-sustaining if you don't have that influx of new cash. And it's not like putting money into some sort of a stock market where you can get a return on investment here. The school itself is the service you're contributing towards. That is the ROI. The school actually opening and serving the students in the community. And he couldn't even do that. The audacity of him to get mad because people point this out, because reading Umar is fundamental. You Oompa Loompa. So as you all can see here, I'm just blown away by him saying, if you broke his head, you can't come to this school. Go somewhere else. They have a weekly extended day because reasons. The extracurricular activities would have been gun club, fishing, hunting, camping. This can't be real. Y'all, this site cannot be real. They went from day 1, 2, 3, back down to day 1. The Black American. The grammar and syntax in this is garbage. And then you have the audacity to say, here's some extracurricular activities for Black boys who may not be able to afford to go to a standard private school, might not even be able to have access to a charter school in a better, in a better community. And you're going to take these Black boys and teach them gun club, fishing, hunting, and camping. What year are we in? This sounds so archaic, it's not even funny. Yeah, let's all go out here and hunt that woolly mammoth. If you guys see a huge buffalo bison hybrid walk around here, grab your bows and arrows. Let's go to work. Gun club. How is that an extracurricular activity? Is it like a chess club or something? Except guns and you're just playing around with it? Why would you want kids to handle a weapon? How is gun club for, so far, grades 2 through 4 considered an extracurricular activity? Is no one asking these questions, those who choose to be brainwashed? I'm just posing a question here. Your child is, let's say, going to the 3rd grade, and somehow they get accepted into FDMG Leadership Academy. Would you truly want your child in a gun club and they're in the 3rd grade? And that's as an extracurricular activity. Gun club was the best he could come up with. Not basketball or soccer or tennis. It doesn't have to be the traditional sports. It doesn't have to be football, basketball, baseball. It could be fencing. It could be horseback riding. He's got gun club. Then you got fishing, hunting, camping. You think Black boys are interested in fishing? Yes. Golf? That's one thing. It would be different if this said golf club. No, it says gun club. You can't make this up. Y'all, he already said in the video he wants to go camping with your 10-year-old little boy. So whatever. Oh, God. Mental health and behavioral regulation. He's not credentialed. I still challenge his doctorate degree because I have yet to see any proof that he actually walked across the stage. And I'm talking about a visual, like video evidence. Nor has he shown a transcript or the actual degree itself. Because if you get a doctorate degree, wouldn't you have the actual paper degree itself? You can show people. Wouldn't that be hanging somewhere on the wall whenever he does these dumbass lives outside the school in the dark? You would think he would brag about that. He doesn't, because he knows more than likely, people like myself, we're going to look that stuff up. I just want to see his transcript. There's no way he passed English. Who wrote this article? Oh, God. Gun club. This can't get any worse. So you broke, you can't come. You're gonna be in the gun club if you do. I just don't understand. Nutrition for the students. 90% of the food will be raw and vegan. You're gonna serve raw food, so you're not gonna cook the carrots and the peas that you're gonna put on a plate and serve a child. What? Who gets served raw food? It's fruits and vegetables. Is it that hard? But I mean, honestly, what type of protein are you going to be serving to the kids? Mind you, they're going to be there to at least get 2 meals, breakfast and lunch. No protein, no nothing in here. Your child will be deprived of many various forms of nutrition, vitamins, and minerals, because it doesn't even seem like he would have a protein listed. Yeah, so it's going to be raw. Good luck to that E. coli. Busting. Not only is your child going to have to breathe in mold spores, now they're going to have to eat raw and vegan food, because, why serve it hot and cooked? Oh, man. Ooh, the bacteria and germs in that food. God. Busing will serve Black children in 8 cities. No, it wouldn't, because most of these cities where the parents are dumb enough to try to send their child to that school would not be able to afford the actual tuition. Hence, why they could easily go somewhere else. And why he's still sitting here pretending like he's struggling to get money up to open a school he's never going to open. So that would be a waste of time. And then it give the story of FDMG. I can't even read that. It's going to be dumb. Criticism of the project. Everyone has criticism. He got hit with a cease and desist order from Pennsylvania. And yet, after 11 years of raising money, he still has not opened the school. That is not a criticism. That is a matter of a fact. It is a fact. 2 buildings exist in the city of Wilmington. He said he was going to turn into schools, and that has not been done, nor has it opened. I don't understand calling everything hate and all this immature high school child shit, but yet and still, no one is asking him, why was the school originally delayed by an entire year and a half from being open? Then he claims it was vandalized. Okay, where's the police report? Did he call the police and do a police report on this vandalization? Like, this is insane. People need to start demanding that he prove that he spent their contribution dollars to the school on the school. Umar, if you've transferred money from FDMG LLC into your personal account, or you utilize the funds for your personal use, you could be subjected to an investigation. That could be possible money laundering. So that's not what the FDMG money is supposed to be in a separate account, to which he said was frozen, and he never explained why. That the fact that he omits information is also deceptive and misleading, and can still be considered a lie in a court of law. Then they give their perspective of the FDMG Academy. So like I said, this link to this article will be in the description of the video itself. You guys can read over this. Then at the bottom, they have his interview with the Breakfast Club he did back on 2019, 2020. And they have the information here at the bottom. They're recommending the books and DVDs that he wrote. This is ridiculous. See, by Dr. Umar Johnson. Look, listen, clown. You clown. How to engage. They have the information. You can reach out. How to watch Umar on YouTube and Twitter. I mean, he hates Twitter now, so whatever. And that's it. No school link, no school website, nothing. So, having said all of that, let's go back over here to the actual financials, if you will. Because, this is getting funny. I'm just shocked that, the spelling errors and the nonsense, and he's sitting here talking about, you can't come here if you broke. You don't want to invest in your child education, take them somewhere else. Oh, okay. Umar, you would need students to help increase the amount of money you receive should you decide to get a grant or receive funding from, a government entity, such as the state. You would have to give a head count. They're not going to sit here and give you grant money, especially a government agency, for only 12 students in an entire school. And let's not say he has a school. He has 2 buildings that he's claiming is going to be open as a school that has not opened and will never open as a school. And he, by the deed, is not an individual owner. FDMG LLC is the owner. That's insane. And I'm just gonna, assume that K-12 still owns FDMG, so whatever. So I want to get back to this tab here. I'm only gonna do one tax year. That way, when we get into the comparison with LeBron James, I promise you guys can see the big difference in how the financials are being reported. So let's go to 2023. And I've gone over the tax documents in previous videos that you guys can find on the Umar Johnson playlist, because he's a clown. So let's check out 1223. This is tax year 23. That's what I want to see. So if you guys see this here, this is the Form 990 tax form used for nonprofit organizations. And you guys can see the information here. Oh, child. It's got FDMG is RBG. Why is that different on the actual tax document? It's supposed to be RBG. I mean, at the very least, let it match what's on the deed. On the deed, it has R as in red, B as in black, and G as in green, in that order. And you couldn't even keep that consistent. Umar, you're the worst. So you have RGB, and then there's an EIN. Okay, let's go down. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire document. Like I said, I just want to kind of highlight, the most important part about these tax documents is not just the contribution, it's the expenses as well. Showing the IRS and the public on how you spend the money is imperative. So why not have expenses listed on the tax documents? And, anytime you guys need to speed up or slow down the video, please do so. I didn't plan on this being lengthy, but, that last article just caught me off guard. The audacity for you to say, you can't afford to pay the money here, go somewhere else, you're not welcome. Oh, okay. Never mind the legal ramifications of calling it an all-black boys' school and not letting any other race of kids in the school. Yeah, you'll get sued for discrimination. All right. So if you all can see here, I'm just going to go to the top of the 2023 tax document. And I want to thank you all for being patient and for tuning in. Please make sure you're hitting that like button because I had to do a lot of research on this. And I just, want this video to get all the views it can get. Share it with other content creators. Post it up on X, on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. I don't care. Post this up everywhere. So here is the beginning of the 2023 tax return document. You guys can see, the blue checks here indicating that it was a 501c3 nonprofit. What you see over here now is the prior year for revenue. Y'all see this box here? This is what we're looking at. Revenue right here. So the contributions are listed from the prior year being at a little over 121,000. Current year, a little over 204,000. So that's the revenue. Okay, let's go down where I expect to see some expenses. Now you look at the expenses over here. It's all blank. It's zeros. Right underneath the revenue, on the side here, you can see revenue, expenses, and not assets or fund balances. Right here for expenses, you see nothing. Not one thing, not one number. This is just carrying down from the revenue. It says revenue less expenses. Subtract line 18 from line 12. So if you have 121,646 minus 0, you still have 124,646. Umar can't do math either, apparently. And he had a, you know, tax firm to do this for him. Why didn't he list anything? This is something that, you know, you look at and you say, okay, he's obviously trying to hide the expenses on how this money has been spent, because this makes no sense. Even if it's a 501c3, this makes no sense. This is what brings doubt and raises up questions as far as how the money is being spent, the contribution money. And you don't even notate it for documents being sent to the IRS. You're not paying taxes on that money to the state level or even local government entity. So the tax exemption is only for the federal government, for the IRS on a federal level. Where the county taxes or whatever, the vacant registration fee, you don't get exempt from everything because you're a nonprofit. Where the staff that's, you know, so-called lined up and ready to work. If he was going to launch the opening of the school September of 2024 last year, wouldn't he have those teachers and salary and staff in place to pay their salaries? So why do we not see that? This is tax year 2023, people. The school was supposed to open September of 24. So surely by now he was paying some teachers and staff, at least had them in place. But, you know, too much like right. This is a sign of someone hiding some stuff. No expenses mentioned nowhere here on these documents whatsoever. None of it. I can't fathom how the IRS let this kind of go on for 4 or 5 years. So as you all can see, it's all blank. You got him listed as the director, not owner. See, here's something to point out right here. You see Umar Johnson, because they're listing, you know, officers, directors, trustees, key employees, and highest compensated employees. But, you know, because they think everything is so exempt. Why even do this? I mean, if you're going to go for broke, why put anything on the expenses? Why even list this information here? But you see him listed as the director. Now, if he had teachers and staff, he would have to list, as you can see here, any officer, other directors, trustees, key employees, and highest compensated employees. So you mean to tell me you didn't even have a key employee? This is how you know he's not planning on opening a school. I expected to see some of the staff, even if it's 2 or 3 others. No, it's just him. And he's listed as director. But yet, his name was not named individually on the deed. So it's hard to even say that he's owner of the buildings. So this is absurd. Then he put down the average hours per week. 60 hours per week? You did something 60 hours per week related to this school, Umar. When in essence, you spend more time traveling, going all over the place, talking about women and their body parts and all this nonsense. And you've done somehow 60 hours each week when it came to the work directly related to FDMG Leadership Academy. 60 hours in a week. When did your ass go to sleep? And why 60? I mean, hell, why not just put 40? At least that's more standard. They're saying the average hours per week. We all know he didn't work 60 hours a week at that damn school or in the building because it's not fully a school. So you guys, that's, you know, just another sign that, you know, he doesn't own anything, you know, as an individual anyway. He lists himself as director. I mean, he could have stated, you know, an officer even, or listed highest compensated employee because he's the only one here, and then notated that he was the founder. He's the president or whatever. Nope, director, 60 hours a week, you know, and he doesn't have any tax documents because he doesn't work. This is ridiculous, you all. No expenses anywhere. None. Statement of functional expenses. None. Nothing here. Just all blank. And then, of course, they have the total assets listed here. This is still part of, like, the revenue that he received, the contribution dollars. I don't even know if he actually has cash non-interest bearing $56,000, $62,000. Where's that money at? Savings and temporary cash investments, 141,229. Okay, where's that 141? What the hell is it? Where's the saving account it's supposed to be in, or the actual investment? Is there any proof that perhaps he invested it and bought some stocks from the stock market? Because you get a receipt for that. So what is the proof of the actual investment? Moving it from the alleged FDMG account to his personal account, that's not an investment. He's like, I'm investing in myself. You're not an investment. So what investments did this 141 go towards? Y'all, you can't make this shit up. Oh my God. I am so clowning him right now. Then he has a Schedule A. Oh my God. Nothing checked off. No nothing here. The only thing that he listed was revenue. No expenses, no accountability of how money is being spent. Nothing. Not a damn thing. I'm still scrolling, you all. That's the end. This is the last page of 2023 here. No excess distribute. Nothing. Nothing. And then it goes into 2022. So, all right. Let's go over to, and I just wanted to make sure I have all my bases covered. Like I said, you all, I put in some time researching this information, making sure that it was, put together where it makes sense. And whether or not the brainwashed cult members care is irrelevant, because they're going to keep sending their money to him for reasons unknown. They will not demand accountability. They will not demand that he shows proof of the contribution dollars going towards the school. He has not presented any receipts, invoices, any financial statements, or anything. He's presented nothing. This is the close that we get to seeing anything regarding the contributions itself on tax forms that are still incomplete. This is insane. This is madness. Okay, so let's go over. Now we're going to talk about LeBron James' I Promise. Thank you all for being patient with me. Please hit that like button. Like I said, I didn't intend on this being over an hour, but it's just chock full of information that I wanted to make sure I covered my bases. So, should he decide to put me in the book of Negroes, he can still kiss my ass. I don't care. All right. So this is the website for LeBron James Family Foundation.org for the I Promise School. I want you all to see, and this link will be in the description of the video. But let's go down here to what the school offers, right? So I just want to show you all the drop down option. You have the program, school, institute, I Promise 2. And then they have other, components here on the drop down. Let's go to school and do overview. So as you all can see, here's an overview. They give free tuition, free uniforms, free bicycle and helmet, free transportation within 2 miles, free breakfast, lunch, and snacks, food pantry for families, GEDs and job place services for parents, guaranteed tuition to the University of Akron for every student that graduates and completes criteria. That alone blows my mind. Not only are the kids getting all of the free services, he's offering food pantry for families because, child hunger is an actual issue in the U.S. No matter how much, we choose to be wasteful overall, think about all the kids that go to school because they're not being fed enough at home. So he has a resolution to this. All right, let's do a food pantry for the families. We want our kids to come here, be able to learn, and not be worried about when is lunch because they're starving. So you see over here on the side tab that in July of 2018, the LeBron James Family Foundation and Akron Public Schools officially opened the doors of the I Promise School with a mission to wrap around the most at-risk students and families in Akron, taking a We Are Family approach to educating the whole child and family, IPS is creating a new model for urban public education. This is in July of 2018. You guys see that here? So it's the year of our Lord 2025. This school has been open and operating for 7 years. 7 years, Umar. You literally trying to ignore facts in our reality here on earth because all of us are not brainwashed. And to try to compare yourself to LeBron James or even Jalen Rose School is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this school has been going since July 2018. And it's not only just this one location, he has multiple locations. So they have the articles here, these blogs, Year Like No Other, Champions of Change, Together. Then if you scroll down, you see all these photos and proof that the school is real and open and functioning. The school website works. Shout out to Lennon Honor. He bought that damn domain and routed it to his YouTube channel. Isn't something else? So it gives a little description on the I Promise School. It's more than a school. It is a home. It is a place where students are loved and families are supported, with international focus on social, emotional learning and a strategic approach to its trauma-informed curriculum. I Promise School addresses the unique needs of its students to meet them where they are. From the staff to the families and our foundation, we are all on this journey together. Not anywhere did you see, if you cannot afford the tuition here, you are not welcome to attend. I mean, he has free tuition in and of itself. See, it's very possible for someone like a LeBron James that makes a whole lot of damn money to be able to build a school, have it up and running July of 2018, where he's offering all of this free stuff. And in that same time frame, within the last 7 years, Umar Johnson, the weird ass Oompa Loompa, has not only been put out of the state of Pennsylvania with a cease and desist order, and has not to this very day rectified the issue by presenting the documents, but then he went to Wilmington and then had the audacity to raise money for that school to so-called open since 2019. And it still has not been open. Not including the launch date being pushed back by an entire year and a half. And then there was some sort of vandalism with no police report. I haven't seen it anywhere. Let me just say that. I have not seen a police report. And Lord knows I've been looking. So if you get a hold of the police report regarding the vandalism, please send me a copy to LadyLuckClubLLC at yahoo.com. Because I mean, you know, you have something like that happen, wouldn't you call the police and get a police report, right? Wouldn't you want to aid in the so-called vandalism, you know, perpetrators being caught? Wouldn't you want that? Especially when you're asking for donations and hit the PayPal and hit the Cash App every 2 minutes. You get in front of a video. But look at this. Photos, pictures, you got uniforms here. You have a lot of information. Look at the partners and other services they offer. Northeast Ohio Eye Surgeons, Community Legal Aid, Happy Market. I mean, you have other services as well. The family's got a food pantry. Then you have a program called Faithful Servant. Certified doctors are available to provide non-urgent medical care, which may include common cold, sore throat, sprains, sport physicals, and more. They even offer certified doctor services. Meanwhile, Umar still lies about being licensed and or credentialed to be anybody's counselor on any level. Still won't even produce his transcript from PCOM, you know, because of reasons. And then here are the partners that they have: Akron Public Schools, Walmart, JP Morgan Chase, Carlick Companies, Pegs Foundation. See here, Umar, you Prince of Pan Crust Pizza. This is what happens when you do the right thing. You can get sponsors. This is what makes it possible for these kids to have free tuition and free uniforms, and a free bike and helmet. It takes money to run and operate a school. And instead of Umar doing what he is supposed to do and handling business, he gets offended when someone says LeBron James school is better than yours. When in essence, Umar doesn't have a school. He just has 2 abandoned buildings that he put paint over one of the doors and the sign up, and that's it. Shout out to Famer 2 for going to the school, as well as the Mademoiselle for going to the school and recording what they saw. Because otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see that information. That's just part of accountability. These are other, service. I mean, they have so many services. The Foundation and Mental Health, Chase Bank Financial Literacy and Mentorship. This is awesome. So yes, I don't mind bragging on something like this. I Promise Huddle, coming February 2020. It came and it opened. Hometown Hall, open summer 2023. It opened. LeBron James did exactly what he needed to do with the money. I Promise School documentary coming April 2020. I'm assuming this was completed and aired. I didn't even look this up, to be honest with you, but if you guys do get the chance to check out the school documentary, go ahead. I'll be looking at it myself. You got media inquiries. Then, of course, ways to donate. So they accept donations, but I guarantee you they can give you a tax statement for you to file your taxes with at the end of the year. Umar can't do that. He doesn't even want people to ask him how was the money being spent. Why were the accounts allegedly frozen? When did they get thawed out? Simple questions. So I just want to show you guys the other tabs here. They have the I Promise program. You guys can see the family, kids from Akron, history, promises, most recent. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing. Well done. So let's go over to the last tab that I want to share with you all, and that is the LeBron James Family Foundation tax filing. This is on ProPublica website. It's kind of like my go-to when I want to look at tax statements from nonprofits. And you guys can see here, this is in Akron, Ohio, tax exempt since January 2006. And then you have the EIN. The type of nonprofit is listed there. It's designated 501c3. Now, here are the tax filings by year. Now, let me explain why they don't have the 2024 up yet. Because if you look at the historical context, the history of when they file, you'll see it always comes around November. If you need extra time to file taxes with the IRS and you request an extension, especially if you're a nonprofit or if you're a large, organization, they will give you the extra time because they know that you got to fill out a lot more documents. So this 2023 tax return, tax filing was originally filed on November 14, 2024. So that's why we're looking at 2023 because when it came to Umar, because LeBron James, they have not submitted their tax filings. And, like I said, history shows it's always around November, mid-month of November. So this was filed for the fiscal year 2022, filed on November 15, 23. Then you guys can see here, there's a pattern here, filed on October. So you have October, November as a trend on when they just, submit over the tax statements. This one here filed November 15, 2021. So we at least have to give LeBron James, school until between mid-October and mid-November to file the 24 tax return, the tax filing. So let's look at this. You guys can clearly see revenue here, expenses, because it's a thing. You got a school open and you don't have any expenses listed. So who were the people paying, putting up gates and painting and all that other stuff? I mean, does he honestly expect people to work for free? Umar is the worst. But you have here 11 million in expenses, 12 million in revenue. This is the net income. You subtract the revenue here from the expenses. This should be the answer. And then you have net assets. So I just want you all to see what an actual completed, tax filing for a nonprofit organization that are schools should look like. You have the contributions, program services, investment income. This is all sources of revenue here. Then you have the notable expenses. You have other salaries and wages. Guess what that is? Teacher and staff salaries. See, if Umar had anyone on payroll, he would have had to list them. But he listed himself and then said he worked 60 hours a week. But how realistic is that? Especially when he has videos of him traveling all over the place. So, yeah, no, you have these expenses here, $1,029,783. It's like 9.1% of the total expenses here. But typically, salaries and wages is always the bigger chunk of your expenses. So there has to be another, I mean, this is just 9.1%. So there have to be other expenses that are, you know, a larger amount. Then you have the assets to debt. You guys can see here, this is how it's supposed to be filled out. Then they have key employees and officers. So this is what I was referring to when we were looking at the tax statement with Umar, with FDMG. You all see here, Director of Family Resource, Tony Montgomery, Director of I Promise Program, Director, Coach, Operations Manager, President, VP, Treasurer, Chairman of the Board, VP, Executive Director. So LeBron James is Chairman of the Board. Why is it that when we looked at Umar's tax statement, the FDMG, he has himself listed as Director? He's not even Chairman of the Board. And he claims that he owns FDMG. How can you own it and then you list on tax statements that you're a director? But LeBron James, he owns this school and he listed himself as Chairman of the Board. That's it. It's that simple. He even has a VP. So you have these, what's considered the notable expenses that we just saw with the 990 tax form for FDMG. And they're filled out. And I just did a quick summary on this, but you guys can check out the full filing on the projects.propublica.org website. I will have the link in the description. But overall, now you guys get to see exactly, the differences between LeBron James School and FDMG. Big difference between I Promise and FDMG. First of all, the biggest difference is that I Promise is open and operating. FDMG is not. So it's my understanding that, Umar, of course, being a narcissist, has a huge ego and an issue with pride and really does not go out of his way to try to get help, because why get help if you're not intending on opening the school? Naturally, if you were truly trying to do that, you would have gotten help back in 2019. Hell, as a matter of fact, let's go back to 2014, where he was supposed to open the school originally. And I just want to make sure I have information clear here. Let me go back here. Oh, I'm going to make sure I have to pull up that article again. But, like I said, he has all the information in place. He has the expenses listed, and he has no problem listing the salaries and staff wages. None. But yet, Umar hears anything about, it's something he just don't like. Despite the facts, he throws a man baby tantrum. And he could have put that pride to the side and at least got some level of assistance. Why not call Charlemagne and Mark Lamont to help you out? I mean, seriously. But no, He doesn't want anyone to get too close to what he's doing, which is just grifting, talking about opening a school he will never open. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a bit lengthy, but it is definitely worth every minute. A lot of research and information, for information went into this. So make sure you please hit that like button. Let's subscribe and get this channel growing up to 30,000 subs by September 30th, and spread the word, because Umar is still a con grifting artist that hates himself and black women, has given false promises of a school open going back to 2014, and yet this has not occurred. And anyone that still wants to believe anything he's got, going on, because he's just, smooth talker. He knows how to run his mouth, but he's all talk and hype and no substance. So make sure you guys check out the description of the video as well for the Dr. Squash products that will be tagged. If you want to support the channel and the content that I'm, producing out to you guys, please consider becoming a member. I do have Cash App and Zelle. And of course, supers are always, appreciated. I don't care what the amount is. I'm grateful for just the willingness to want to support this platform. And please do your research. There are a lot of things that, I wanted to cover, but just for the sake of brevity, I can't. But please do your research so that, you can see for yourself. And the links for the articles and the information that I presented today will be in the description. Purchase the Dr. Squash products, soap, deodorant, toiletries for your young men to feel good, feel fresh and clean. And as always, thank you so much for the support. I would love to see this video get at least 5,000 views. That would be fantastic. But hitting that like button and viewing the video is free to do. All right, y'all. That's all I got. And until the next one, Lady Luck Club out.